Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Lunch Break. I'm Dean Kapika.
And I'm James Sirico.
Now, let's get to the main question. How social media has affected kids now and in the past?
Our generation has succumbed to the expectation of 24/7 social media coverage. The question is whether or not social media affects us negatively or positively.
Well, uh, honestly, social media has changed so much throughout the years. Like reflecting back on social media in middle school, that was 100% different than social media now. Am I right?
I 100% agree with you. When we were in middle school, no social media was really popular except for like Kik, and Snapchat was kind of starting, and so was Instagram. But I think once we got into 8th grade, maybe ninth grade is really when things started to blow up, you know? And it's cool, but at the same time, it's a blessing and a curse, you know? Because it did so much for us, but also did, some bad things too.
No doubt, no doubt. Did you have Snapchat, Instagram, or anything like that in the eighth grade?
I had both, but I didn't really use them a lot, and I didn't post on them or anything, or I didn't really Snapchat anyone. And then when I got older, I think ninth grade is really when I like started to be like, you know what? Let's post something on my Instagram. Let's actually start Snapchatting a lot of people, and that's when I really started. I know a lot of other people though, started to really get into Instagram in like 7th grade, 6th grade.
You know what the problem with it is, though? It's the innocence of it. Like, I feel like our generation was the last slightly innocent generation to use social media kind of appropriately in middle school.
I'm just curious. Like, can you explain on that a little bit more?
Like, social media is filled with all of these crude, inappropriate memes. You can ruin your life with social media. You could send a picture that you're not comfortable with. You can um, nothing can be erased. You know what I mean? And with that comes a lot of responsibility that kids in middle school don't have. And the more social media are you experience, the less innocence you have, in my opinion, which is what it's kind of ruining kids in a way.
I sort of agree with you, but recently with the new generation, I feel like we're on the brink of like it's kind of hard to say, but political correctness. I feel like a lot of people in our generation and lower aren't really like sometimes we are politically correct, but at sometimes because we weren't meant in that, social media area or era. So sometimes we're not really educated sometimes, but the new generation like they know their stuff, They they want to say the right things and everything.
They know there's. You say they have political correctness. I mean, most of them do, but like on Instagram, you got all of those like extremely offensive, crude memes and all that, and people are so desensitized. Like the amount of sensitive material that you could see on Instagram, like the stuff that says this contains sensitive material. If you want to see more, click here, and you click there, and it's like this horrible video of like a murder of chickens getting killed by a truck. You know what I mean? And like people are so desensitized to that. By the year 2000, around 100 million people had access to the internet, and it became quite common for people to be engaged socially online. Of course, then it was looked at as an odd hobby at best. Still, more and more people began to utilize chat rooms for making friends, dating, and discussing topics that they wanted to talk about. But the huge boom of social media was still to come.
Yeah, and I want to bring up the statistic with social media and what happened from 2008 to 2018. And recent discoveries of research and stuff, 70% of US Americans use social media, and and this has actually gone down a little bit, which I find actually strangely odd because I feel like I thought like 97% of the population uses social media, you know? I thought everyone uses it.
Well, I feel like there's a lot of the older generations that didn't grow up with it or never adapted to it. Like you got like our parents' generation. I feel like they're the ones that are using Facebook and stuff now, and the millennials are using Instagram and stuff. Back, our parents' generation. Some of them adapted to Facebook and learned how to use it and stuff like that. But I feel like my father does not have anything. Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, nothing. What about you?
Um, my mom uses Facebook, and she has her own Instagram, but that's a joke. Uh, but other than that, no. Like you said, my dad actually finds it stupid. Like, why do you need to see what people are doing, and like, why do you need to be up on people's life? Sometimes my dad is interested in it. Where like my mom will mention a name, my dad's like, oh my gosh, I haven't heard that name forever. Like, how is he doing, or how is she doing? But other than that, my dad's like, it's useless. Honestly, you don't need it.
Well, you just brought up a pretty valid point. The importance of it is that you could stay in touch with people so easily that you know people that you haven't seen in years, you could find out where they are, how they're doing. You could text them; they'll answer you. I think, hopefully, unless they don't like you. So, social media has definitely molded kids in different ways. Does it My question to you is, do you think that it is positive or negative more so?
Um, it's a hard question to answer, but like you said, more so. So I'm gonna say positive. I think social media really appeals to the the new generation and everything. And people wanted this market, and people wanted all this entertainment, and they wanted to be educated about themselves, and they wanted it about themselves, and the market just gave it to them. I don't think social media is this bad revolutionary idea. I think it's a new generation.
Well, I have to disagree with you. I think that social media is in something that's extremely negative. I feel like it doesn't help kids in any way. It only goes against them. Uh, but yeah. Anyways, this has been Dean Kapika
And James Sirico.
on another lunch break. Thank you.